Hello and welcome back to Campo Largo. We will be continuing where we left off, which, if you recall, is after Elder Heartly found Drubik and he got him to talk about what exactly it is that is happening to Heartly. But unfortunately, Drubik doesn't know a thing about what's going on because he didn't do a thing. Even though he's into the esoteric, the occult, and stuff like that, he has no idea what's happening to Heartly. And in the midst of trying to help him, Hartley's been sort of a butthead. He's been very dismissive, very aggressive with Drubik. And Drubik is just like, dude, like, calm down. You're asking me for help and you're just throwing it in my face. So, like, yeah. Like, what do you expect me to do? Um, so after deciding, okay, fine, I'm not gonna be so antagonistic to him. I'm gonna hear him out. And after Drubik sort of laid bare his the reason why he didn't get baptized, um Hartley had a reaction to that. And it was not a good reaction, or at least a reaction that Hartley would like, which is that his transformation basically completed. He is now more feral than anything. And that's indicative by the fact that when he was trying to escape from the little house, he was thinking more like an animal and less like him, like at the very beginning of the previous transformation that he did when he locked Elder Suarez in the pench. Um, so yeah, like I think it's pretty obvious now that these transformations are as a result of Elder Hartley trying to hide or trying to run away from something, and that something deciding like, no more. I'm coming out whether you like it or not. And unfortunately, it's coming out as this werewolf transformation like thing. But yeah. Also, as a heads up, this is the last two chapters of this particular route. So yeah, just so you guys know, okay? Anyway, so without further ado, let us complete this route. Chapter 7. Out and safe and free, I keep running. I leave the shelter of trees and proceed into a large field of fresh plants well below my height. I'm swallowing up distance in just a few strides, feet beating against the ground, driving me forward. Separate and alone, down on all fours. The plants slap against my legs, impotent to stop me, slow me. The air feels close like a tight embrace. I think that I can sense the residue of the day's heat radiating still from the soil. Andan en yernos, errantes. The place of confinement and danger recedes. I can no longer hear its noises. I reach another group of trees and pause my progress, looking back. The light is a pinprick now, so far away that I know that even predators couldn't see me even with the nocturnal light in the sky. I feel a twinge of something, a pang. Something that I shouldn't have done. I don't know what should means. Houses shall be full of doleful creatures. What said that where? I tense my body, swing my head around. The space around me is clear. I can't see anything that could hurt me nearby. I decide that I could be safer by being even further away. I begin to slope across the next field. Wilderness. As the fear abates, another feeling. I thirst. I need water. Dark and dreary waste. I raise my nose to scent the wind. Maybe this way. Every once in a while, I snuffle the ground. No puddles. It's been a long while since rain. Where is water? Where is water? Wilderness, wilderness, wilder mess. After some time jogging, scratched by a patch of unfamiliar plants that I come across, more big rocks that shouldn't be here. I smell water here, though, and I need that. I creep past the dwellings of the tall creatures. There is a barricade, but I leap over it easily. There is a puddle, high up, full. I dip my snout into it and lap it up, savoring the stale wetness on my nearly dry tongue. Fountain in the place called Mormon, infested by wild beasts. I raise my head and perk my ears, alert, listening, ready to run. But all I hear are night sounds. Maybe those are just new night sounds. I look back down into the puddle. A black shape looks back at me. Having forgotten all, the shape changes. The ears go down, branches grow up out. I lower my nose to inspect it. Hath poured out his soul onto. But I just smell water. There is no other animal hiding in the puddle. Something stirs inside, in thoughts. Somehow, I know the reflection is me. And that it's a reflection. There is something bright that makes my face look dark. I crane my neck around and up and... At first, smudges, but then... More stars than I've ever seen before. A field of bright pinpricks so dense that it looks like a daytime ocean, frozen. A brilliant oval hovering well above the horizon. Across it all, a swath of spilled lights. The Milky Way. Our galaxy. Worlds without number. Suddenly more sounds come to my mind. Sun, moon, stars, planets. Planet Earth. Universe. I stagger back, disrupting the image in the water. It feels like fear, but nothing is chasing me. No one barking me away. I'm lost somewhere in the universe, somewhere in the big universe. I look around at the shapes and shadows that surround me. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be. I need to know where I am. I need to find a path back. Back to where? Back to home? Back to... I remember a path through the wilderness. Long, straight path. An image of a needle spinning, oscillating, less and less, stopping, comes to mind. I don't know what it is, but I understand it. It points the way. I'll find the path if I turn away from the moon. I look up and find the brightest object in the sky. I look in the opposite direction. And I start out that way. I jump another barrier, a fence, and leave the corral and thorough behind. I set out in a straight line as I can manage, heading east. I'm heading east. The cardinal directions are defined by the rotation of the earth. I stop in my tracks, staring across the field. Of soybeans? Nothing, my mind inward gazing. It comes back to me. It all comes back to me. I'm Elder Travis Heartly, and I'm on a mission in Parana, and I'm assigned to Campo Largo. I locked my companion in our pench and ran away into the countryside with a strange bird. Oh dear heavens, I've screwed up. And I threatened him and left him behind because... I stumble back and fall, my legs unable to catch me. My body is all wrong. My clothes aren't fitting right at all. And when I try to stand, I just fall back forward. My hips won't straighten out. I catch myself with my hands, but they're not my hands anymore. The fingers are stubby, flexible but useless. I don't feel any thumbs, at least any thumbs that I can move. And my arms won't twist or raise to the sides, front and back, yes. I stand there, all four legs braced to keep me upright. I can feel the fangs in my mouth with my tongue. My neck is too long, and horrifyingly my head is most comfortable in line with my spine. I manage to keep myself aloft against the looming fainting spell, fending off dizziness almost by sheer will. I don't have words to express how awful my situation is. I've abandoned my companion, I've assaulted an investigator. I'm somewhere in Llanero Campo. And I'm too tired, too exhausted, too worn down to engage in denial anymore, to think that I'm merely hallucinating. It's impossible, entirely impossible, but somehow true. I'm quadrupedal, in a body that isn't mine. What in the world am I even supposed to do? I scan the terrain around me, helped by my vantage point. There are no notable landmarks, endless fields and occasional trees stretching out into indistinct oblivion. I couldn't find my way back to Drubek's Quinta, even if I thought that was a good idea. I can remember everything that I did. A wave of shame knocks my conscience over. I've burned that bridge, surely. And he said something. I could go back to Campo Largo. And what, apologize to Elder Suarez for running away? Ask him not to tell Presidente when we get a new phone, or when a telecabina opens in the morning? And hope that no one comments on the new four-legged missionary wandering around town, the werewolf in sacrament meetings? It's absurd. I wonder if it might be better to try to get to Aramburu, maybe Conquista. But what would I do there? Do they treat lobizons in their hospitals? Is this a common malady that avoids international notice? Can I even talk? Will I have to scratch out messages in loose dirt to communicate, like the kid turned dragon in that one novel? I attempted. Buen dia, soy Elder Heartly. The sounds come out hoarse, strained, constricted, not at all like me. My tongue doesn't want to cooperate. But I think that I can make myself understood. But that doesn't address what they'll do to me, showing up on all fours and trying to recite my incongruous, impossible medical history. Hello, yes. I don't look like it, but I'm a deer. See, that's my passport photo. Could you maybe help with that? Do I wander Yana forever? Scavenging what I could from rural households and outlining neighborhoods? Fueling a zillion cryptozoologists' blogs with smudgy photographs while dodging trophy hunters and nervous campisenos? Never letting my family know that I'm still out here, even though unrecognizable? I get a mental image of myself, gangly and scruffy, strolling into a CBER, trying to fit myself into a cubicle, plucking out a weekly email update with my not at all dexterous claws. It should be amusing, but it's not. I want to collapse to the ground, but I can't even move myself to do that. Cry in the wilderness. A high-pitched, kneeling whine comes from my throat. It's simultaneously disturbingly familiar and disturbingly alien, but the emotion is wholly mine as it aches throughout my body. Despair. Lone and dreary world. I can't verbalize the prayer, not even in my head. Lone and dreary lone, and dreary lone, and dreary. I just want some help, something, some idea of what to do. Thorns, thistles, briars, and noxious weeds. Words couldn't have escaped my lips anyway, because I'm holding back the first sob. I know that if I don't, it'll incapacitate me. The emotional overload begins to subside, though, and the unspoken prayer goes up with the last involuntary sigh. I lie there, breathing low. In the sweat of thy face thou shalt eat. The phrase comes to mind unbidden, like the others, as does a thought. I can't remember the last time that I ate, at all. My attention turns to my stomach. I'd overlooked its insistent complaints, the shakiness of my limbs. I need to find something edible. Now conscious of my hunger, I notice my diminished strength the next time that I stand. Not knowing any other way to go, I set out again, step by four-beat step, eastward, away from the now descending moon. I remember that I was heading towards a path. The image comes to mind. The railroad, running in line, north to Aramburu, south to Campo Largo. Right. Drubek headed west in the car. If I continue east, I can't miss the rails. Hopefully, I'll find something to scavenge between here and there. And if not, once I get to the railroad, I can make my choice of where to go. At the very least, I'll no longer be lost, geographically. The waxing gibbous moon puts off enough light that I can almost measure the time my walks take by changing elongation of the shadow that I cast. The steps themselves are automated. Once I yelp as a cactus scratches me, but mostly the travel is through fields, soy, which I know from home, cotton, rigid and scratchy, and sunflowers which are unusually taller than me. I look up to see their giant ghostly flower heads which, with no sun to follow in the dark, appear to be facing north. I think momentarily that maybe I could eat the seeds, but here they're neither dried nor roasted yet. I try biting a soybean pod, but it is unappetizing. And I know cotton is inedible. And rural houses are more infrequent here than back home, and smaller. I don't come across another one after the water throw. What I wouldn't give for discarded scraps ripping open a plastic bag someone had put in one of their tall garbage bins. I'm disgusted by my hypothetical lack of gastronomical discernment, but my stomach is simply screaming. I tread onward. The moon is almost directly behind me, resting just above a line of trees close to the horizon when I come across a cleared, uncultivated, slightly raised strip of land. And there, along its barely elevated crest, is a railroad. I made it. I step up to the railway, looking down in both directions, an undeviating course through an undifferentiated landscape. Straight and narrow. My heart starts pounding for some reason, but I correct my brain. The phrase is straight and narrow, a bit of poetic redundancy. Nothing in there about the path lacking twists or turns. But my pedantry doesn't fill my stomach. I sniff the air again. This time, however, I detect something. A vegetal scent that's both unfamiliar and alluring. I can almost feel my mouth starting to pump out saliva. I carefully step across the rails and down the other side. There is a little water left in this drainage ditch, but it smells muddy. Wherever it came from, it's diminishing in the heat. Across the damp, shallow zanja, though, is a low tree. It's what's putting off the scent. I approach tentatively, letting my nose do its work. Among the prickly branches, my nose finds something round, shiny, pale, skin glinting in the last beams from the moon. I think to grab it with my hand, but before I register that I don't have hands anymore, I instinctively stretch my neck out and pull the fruit from the branch. It detaches easily, coming away with my jaw. I almost bite down, but a thought interrupts me. Even though my fast was inadvertent, I feel that I need to pray to end it. Take. I set the fruit down in a clump of grass and close my eyes, my lips with labor forming the words. Eat. After the amen, I stand for another couple seconds before I almost reverently bend my head down and Thou shalt surely. Bite into the unfamiliar fruit. My fangs sink into its fleshy texture, and the flavor rushes over my tongue. I can't describe it. I don't know if it's the fruit's unfamiliarity, my famished state, or a change in my taste buds, but it's delectable. I want to wolf it down, but I feel that's inappropriate and probably inadvisable if I want to keep it down. Instead, I pull bits away, bit by bit, savoring each. When I finish it, licking my lips, I feel almost guilty going back to the tree for more, but my stomach is nowhere near satisfied. I lose count on how many I eat. Eventually, though, my gnawing hunger dissipates. The moon is gone by the time that I'm finally blissfully full. I sit down beside the tree amid the remnants of my feast, noticing that my legs, haunches, are folded up against the side of my torso, stretching and bunching my leg pants uncomfortably. I take in the night's scents and sounds. And I finally look back at the past few days, dreams and waking moments, and wonder, has it really been less than a week? But not just the past week. For the first time in months, I don't derail my brain when it goes back farther than the missionary training center. I let it go back to college. To that April night on the roof of the Anthropics building, when she left. To that October morning passing the lone door on the quad. And to that earlier night at the total eclipse dance. To that offered smile, drink, dance. to the white-furred, flesh and blood, wholly unsymbolic horse. I await that dread, the fear, the urge to flee. It doesn't come. Instead, I hear inside. In every respect tempted as we are. In every respect tempted as you are. Some dam that I built inside of me breaks. Tears well up in my eyes, blurring the washed-out shadowlands before me. I slump for the first time lying down. My limbs are all folded and extended in the wrong directions, but I don't bother to dwell on that. I let my head droop over my arms, turned forelegs, the hot tears running down my muzzle and dripping from the tip of my nose into the dust. I sniffle as my breath goes ragged, a sob cutting through. What am I supposed to do? What am I even supposed to? It is not good for a man to be alone. Everything stops. My breath catches. I open my eyes, lift my head, perk my ears, look out across the brush. Unlike previous times tonight, the voice in my head was clear, complete, insistent, urgent. I'm hanging there, barely able to think. I recognize the phrase, of course. But what it means now, for me. And that's when I hear the rhythmic crunch of gravel approaching from my left. Footsteps. Two-beat anthropic footsteps. They're soft, distant at first. In my peripheral vision to the south, I see a black figure swinging a flashlight beam slowly across the tracks and their environs as he walks. I'm still looking, squinting to discern the person's shape when the beam passes over me. I have to blink, dazed by the concentrated bright light. The beam returns, rests on me a moment, and then flicks off. The steps are coming my way now, closer, closer. I rise to my sitting position, muscles tensing. There is a part of me that shouts to get up, to run, to get away. Danger, danger, danger. But another says that I'm tired. I've been running all night. And another, through means undisclosed, knows who it is. So I stay there, not even looking up, inhaling and exhaling, as the footsteps descend into the shallow zanja, cross it, and stop, barely a yard away. A figure, familiar scented, lowers himself to sit beside me. There is a moment of quiet, suspense, a pendulum reaching the high point of its arc, and then... Hey, Elder. Chapter 8. It's Elder Suarez's voice. I am simultaneously surprised and unsurprised. Unless there's more than one guy wandering the countryside in short-sleeved white shirt and tie, in which case I should really start looking again. His tone is, as always, deadpan. He sounds like he's joking, but I can't quite tell. I'm not sure what to say, so we sit there, unmoving, not looking at each other for a while. I get a whiff of his reptilian scent as the breeze blows towards me. Eventually, I croak out the question that's on my mind. How? A pause as he registers what I'm asking. Oh, the back door. We never lock it. I picture the small patio, enclosed on all sides by 7-foot bricked walls. To one side, an overgrown plot of land, and to the other, the patios of the neighboring apartments. I climbed the wall and walked along it until the end of the complex. Then I jumped down, and I was out. I'm dumbfounded and embarrassed, heat spreading to my ears. I hadn't even thought about the back door. I'd subconsciously regarded it as impassable. Another period of silence, and then I ask my second question, my voice still coming out rougher than ever. Did you tell Presidente? He turns his head towards me, meeting my sheepish upward glance. About what? I look at him baffled. How could he not know? Unless he's asking which of my multiple infractions he could have reported. And then I realized that that was his way of saying that no, he didn't report me. I'm incredulous, enough that it must show on my face in the moonless dark. His scales sparkle with the starlight whenever he moves. I notice that he's in a normal person camouflage, just a jersey and shorts. His calves shine in the dimness. I don't have a phone. The telecabinas are all closed. Presidente is asleep. And besides, we're supposed to work things out with our companions first. I didn't think that it could wait until next week's companionship inventory. He pauses. I was only going to call if I couldn't find you by daybreak. Because then I'd know that I need help. We're still a ways off from dawn. I haven't moved yet, besides my head. Remaining immobile helps me deceive myself that this is a normal companionship discussion, that I'm not proof of the impossible. I'm not sure what to say. My options are all the same as before. I'm just as inexplicable, as out of place, as unmistakable. Just someone's with me now. That someone speaks again. Elder. Yeah? You're going through something strange, obviously. Do you want to talk about it? I sit there. I didn't prepare anything for this circumstance. I'd planned how I would explain everything to Elder Suarez when I was back to being myself, but I'm in entirely uncharted territory now. I flipped through my mental slideshow of recent events. There's so much to explain, from cards to college to Campo to... I don't know. My ears pin back. A new tear trickles down my facial fur. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to say about it. There is a pause, but it doesn't feel awkward. The world alongside Elder Suarez is awaiting whatever I want to say. And I don't know how to fix any of it. It's impossible, but I guess werewolves exist, and I turned into one? But I don't know how that happened, and I don't know why I don't know how to go back. I know I can't go back like this. I lift a paw, demonstrating its uselessness and feeling the eyes of another fixated on it. It's uncomfortable. I feel exposed. I blink as my eyes continue to pump out their liquid. The sounds of the campo surround us, everything otherwise still. Quieter, the voice returns to my mind. It is not good for man to be alone. The werewolf thing isn't the only thing though, is it? There is another. The horse. Horses stalking me since that card in Drubek's house. But more than horses. More than any given horse. Would have been running from this whole time and before. Something that I've never told anyone. Something that I don't even tell myself. Because I've never known how or why or how to fix it or how others will react. I turn my head. There's Elder Suarez looking away over the railway, resting his arms across his upraised knees. I know that he's listening attentively even without visible and mobile ears. And help meet for him. There's the fear, the dread, there, down there in my skinny stomach, wedged in with the fruit that I couldn't identify. But the fear hasn't seized my heart and spurred me into unthinking flight. I'm still afraid. I still don't know what will happen, but I can't keep going like this. It's time to try a new course. An unknown course. A change. I guess this is it. Elder, My voice catches. I haven't thought this through at all. I'm terrified, but I'm going for it. My heart pounds. I, um... could you keep something confidential? Because there is something else too. He's listening, and when I dart my eyes upward, I see his expression is unchanged from its previous openness. I get a vision of a horse in a dark room, also sidled up beside me. Our eyes meet. I avert mine immediately. I can't maintain eye contact now. Yes, of course. I swallow the lump in my throat. Elder, I feel my muscles shaking. This is it. The breath that I try to intake to center myself comes in uneven, randomly punctuated. But it's enough, and I say it. I think I'm attracted to guys. The bottom falls out from my stomach, tight dread replaced by a shocked emptiness. I said it. What I've never told myself. I just told my mission companion. I close my eyes, hanging my head, turned away, not wanting to witness whatever reaction comes. I can't believe that I said it. I said it, and I can't take it back. It's the truth. I can't recant it, deny it. I tried. It didn't work. I know it, and I know God knows it. Though I don't know what will happen now. He said that he won't tell anyone, but if they try to send me home, I'll have to pull out the Liahona article, just open up, show that I've got nothing to hide. I feel something against my back. It's an arm, a strong, smooth arm, wrapping around my spine and abnormally narrow shoulders. It lies there across my weird body, firm and solid and willful. It pulls me against another body. The body's not warm, but the contact lasts more than half a second of a missionary's greeting hug. A lot longer. My breath hitches. With the continued contact, I release my breath. My emotions start to melt. He came looking for me. He didn't tell Presidente. He listened. And he touched me. As I continue to disbelieve it, Elder Suarez continues to hold me. I can feel his right hand still against the long fur of my right upper arm. He's hugging this weird body, this weird me without hesitation. None of the scenarios that I vaguely projected over the years were anything like this. I pictured horror, emotional effusion, interrogation, but not a listening ear and a hug. Oh my God. My body adds sobs to the tears. The pressure on my shoulder doesn't loosen. We sit there, together. I think that I hear the morning's first rooster crowing. My miniature convulsions gradually subside, my breathing no longer coming in syncopated gasps. I reach up to brush away a tear and actually manage it, but only by swiping a paw across my whole face. We sit there, shoulder to shoulder beside the tracks, besides the trees. He speaks up again. Elder? Yeah? Would you like a blessing? I don't think that I've ever asked for a blessing. Something within me shies away from it. Maybe it's hesitation at requesting a service. Maybe it's doubt in its efficacy of blessing. Maybe it's distrust in the people that I'd ask or reluctance to admit need. My need now, though, is kind of undeniable. Yeah. With a parting squeeze, his hand lifts away from my shoulder. Well, would you like one of healing or one of comfort and counsel? I'm not sure which would be more appropriate in this situation. I myself am uncertain what sort of, well, divine assistance I would want to request. I think, considering Elder Hartley's predicament and how he got here, I think that it would be safe to forego the healing and go for comfort and counsel. Because this one kind of implies like, hey, I want to be healed from my, what I have going on, which could be more than just the werewolfication. And this one is more, I just laid my soul bare to you, and I kind of want some comfort and counsel about what to do next about it and stuff like that. A part of me thinks that I need healing, suspects that some distinctive virtue of healing ordinance wouldn't be present in a blessing of comfort and counsel. But well, frankly, I could do with some words of comfort, and maybe counsel will let me know what I need to do to, get better. I think a blessing of comfort and counsel. Thank you. The snake nods, rises, and walks behind me. I turn forward and survey the landscape once more before closing my eyes. Maybe, as with my nocturnal changes, I'll open my eyes and be back to normal. What is your full name, Elder? Travis Alma Hartley. There is something strange about speaking my name out loud. Not only haven't I used it vocally in months, but it's not just strange, it's estranged. Elder Suarez's long, heavy hands come to rest on my head between my two close-together ears. His voice takes on the slow, measured cadence of Mormon ordinance officiation, the same tonality as the day in the cemetery, as if someone else was speaking. Travis Alma Hartley. An involuntary shiver speeds down my spine. My name right now, here, in that voice, sounds honorific, feels almost like a transgression. By the authority of the holy Melchizedek priesthood that I hold, I give you this blessing of comfort and counsel. Travis. A second, smaller shiver. Thy heart is afflicted, thy soul is low. But know thou that the Lord is besides thee. He desireth thee to know that he hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. We shall all be tired, it is true. We shall suffer and mourn and despair at times. And yet, when the morning stars sang together heralding the laying of the foundations of the earth, thy voice was among them. Thou foresawest the joy of deliverance, and knewest that only because of pain couldst thou know joy. So know thou this. Though the mountains shall depart, and the hills be removed, and the valleys be lost beneath the sea, though the very jaws of hell shall gape open the mouth wide after thee, all these things shall give thee experience, and shall be for thy good. The Son of a Man hath descended below all things. Therefore he awaiteth thee wherever thou goest, on mountain, on plain, on sea. A short silence. Fear not, beloved child. He shall wipe every tear from our eyes, and there shall be no more death, for the former things are passed away. The phrases hang in the air. He's thinking, listening, discerning the next words. And unto thee he shall make even this wilderness like Eden. I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. The pressure of Elder Suarez's hands on my head lingers beyond the closing of the blessing, then lifts. I open my eyes. Once I blink away the wetness that gathered while I listened, the world comes into focus. I still see the dry weeds alongside the railroad track, the star-strewn black sky. I'm still looking down at a pair of thumbless paws. I'm still sitting on my haunches. My clothes still bunch up and constrict my body in all the wrong places. But something has shifted. It's almost as if the whole world were rotated on a turntable during the blessing. Everything looks the same, but there's some intangible difference. I breathe in and out. Typically, the recipient of a blessing will rise and thank the giver with a handshake, or in case of someone close, a hug. I can't do either. My arms and hands aren't working that way. I haven't really moved since Elder Suarez found me, honestly. Moving would show him what all has happened to me. But now I know that he won't care. I get up on all fours of my legs, turning around to find that my head is about a level with the snake's ribcage. I step forward, hesitating a moment as I look up into his face. Then I press my head against his chest, scrunching my ears back. Thanks. I almost whisper it, but I'm sure that in the lull of the night he can hear me. A hand rests on the back of my neck. Clawed fingertips delve through my mane of fur and scratch lightly against my skin. It feels very nice, but I step back, raising an eyebrow. Elder Suarez's eyes widen momentarily. Oh, my apologies. I just like the dog back home. I let out a hoarse chuckle, the first time that I've laughed in days. I have no intent of being a pet, Elder. Even if the handbook permitted us to have one. Claro, claro. He seemed genuinely embarrassed, a rarity from him, but he wrestles his composure back on stage. Well, Elder, shall we go home? Maybe we can get there before sunrise. My heart leaps to attention, but what anxiety remains after the blessing quickly exhausts itself. I'm not ready, but it's what we need to do. And it'll be the safest place for me. With, I know now, the safest person. My eyes water once more as I nod. At very least, the way is clear. We come together to the railroad tracks. Side by side, we follow the rails towards the southwest, where we can see a small diffused dome of warm light rising from the horizon straight ahead. That would be Campo Largo. I look up to see Elder Suarez yawn wide. So wide. And I realize that he hasn't slept at all tonight. I, by contrast, haven't been sleepy at all tonight, but I can feel it coming on. We walk in silence, feet crunching on the gravel between the railroad ties. The still, moist, warm air blows by us, bringing an assortment of arboreal scents that I can detect but not disentangle or discern. And a smell that I know, oncoming rain, but still distant. I look and see clouds gathering at the western horizon. I think that I can see glowing flashes within them, too far to hear. An unnamed sense, somewhere between my heart and my navel, also telegraphs to my awareness a desire to be close to Elder Suarez. To relive that hug, the laying on of hands, even the undignified ear scratching. He walks alongside beside me, a mere foot away that feels like a kilometer. More than anything, I want to give him a proper hug for caring. Something within me tries to spook, tries to raise an alarm that such a gesture would be questionable, reason for suspicion. It has a point. I'm accustomed to responding to these feelings with fear. Temptations, a voice tells me, surrender to something untoward. Another voice replies, love your companion. I let my thanks coalesce into a prayer I articulate in my mind. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for sending me a friend. We walk long enough that the eastern horizon to our left transitions from black to slate. By this point, though, we've started passing some of the farthest out houses. Silhouetted against the oncoming dawn, too, we catch the glimpse of the harvesters and the trucks of the protesters on the ruta running parallel to us, but we're far away and quiet enough that no one pays any mind. It's not long before we're approaching town and light poles appear along the concrete strip of the ruta. Just before we come to the terminal, we have to peel away from the railroad tracks. I feel some reluctance to leave behind the path that brought us back. We find our street and walk down it. The house is getting more and more familiar. It's light enough that the colors of the buildings are starting to spread, replacing grays and blacks. No one's out, thank goodness. Except a solitary moto rider. He turns his snout, gawking at me as he passes us. Elder Suarez waves and grins. Forgetting myself and with that little energy that I have remaining, I do my best to smile and try to wave. Except my tongue lolls out and I lose my balance, almost crashing sideways into my companion. Then I also remember my undog-like size and proportions and the fact that I, in this form, am wearing clothes, my tie hanging down between my front legs. By the time that I pull all of this together, my ears pin back, feeling awkward. The motorcyclist is long gone. And then we reach the pench. The door looms. Elder Suarez looks to me. Oh, right. Yeah, the key. It's in my right pocket. In my useless pants. He circles around me and digs into my pocket, retrieving the key ring. He inserts the key into the lock. And he opens the door. Without waiting for the lights to come on, I pad through the kitchen, past the bathroom, and back to my bed. Turning around once, I collapse onto my side on the mattress, paws on spindly legs hanging out over the edge. Without a second thought, I fade out of this world. I'm on the quad again, but there are no buildings. This is normal. School isn't in session this summer, after all. The sun shines down brightly down the expanse of grass, impressionistically painted in greens and yellows and browns. At my feet are parallel steel tracks, underneath them the perpendicular ties. I've been walking along them. It's the way to my next class. The world is tranquil, peaceful. And then ahead of me, straddling the tracks, I see a solitary doorway. It's wooden, painted white, and stands alone amidst the plain. There is no door inside of it, though. Instead, a rectangle of white fabric hangs from the lintel, rippling lightly in the breeze. Beside the doorway stands a white figure, quite clad. As I near them, I see that he's a horse. His brown eyes follow me until I stop, 2 yards from the door. He doesn't smile, not exactly, but his voice is gentle. Greetings, wayfarer. What brings you here? I don't really have to think to respond. I'm ready. He nods. Before I realize it, he's laid his large hand on my shoulder. I smell his warm, grassy scent. My instincts want to flinch at the touch, but I don't resist the comfort. Stepping to my side, he turns to the doorway. With the hoovy claw at the tip of his index finger, he knocks on the doorpost 3 times. A hand pushes aside the edge of the fabric, 5 padded fingers, dark fur. The figure besides speaks to the one beyond the lightly fluttering curtain. He's ready. The unseen figure's other hand appears, beckoning. I take it in mine, its padded palm soft and grip strong but tender. I hear a voice. Bien, buen siervo y fiel. And I step through the threshold. I trespass the blurry border between sleep and wakefulness without realizing it. The first thing that I think is that I slept incredibly well. The second is that there is a good amount of light pouring through the shutters. The third is that somehow, inexplicably, uncharacteristically, inexcusably, I've missed the alarm and slept in. January 19th, 2008, Saturday. Feeling the adrenaline, I reach over to grab the clock. Simultaneously, I take note of two things. It's 9:37. I have slept in over 3 hours. And I put down the clock. I hold up my hand in front of my face. I have 3 fingers. 3 hooved fingers. I furrow my brow as I try to discern why that's remarkable. Then it hits me. My eyes go wide, heart starting to race. I sit bolt upright and throw aside my sheet. Visual confirmation follows my proprioception. I have 2-toed hooves. And my proportions, I check them over. My hips are right, my limbs are the right length, my face. As I reach up to feel my snout, I run my tongue over my teeth, almost holding my breath. They're all flat, blessedly flat. I make some bizarre exclamation halfway between a yell and a laugh as I almost trip over myself passing Elder Suarez's empty, orderly bed on the way to the bathroom. I turn on the light and pose myself in front of the mirror long before the flickering light decides to remain on. It's my face. My face again. Nose pad, white muzzle tip and eye rings, brown everything else, ears on the sides of my head. In acknowledgement, my right ear flicks. No antlers, though. Right. That interrupts but doesn't displace my happiness, my grin. I lose my antlers every year after all. They'll come back. I run out the door and turn towards the kitchen. I stop, though as my brain reminds me of last night, feeds me reasons for caution as I face my companion. I tell my brain to shove it, but all the same I don't heedlessly careen into the kitchen and risk slipping into the wall or door or desk. Elder Suarez is seated at the desk reading. He hears my clacking steps and turns his head to face me. I spread my grin and my arms, showing how absolutely normal and wonderfully servine I look. Elder, I'm back. I'm back. He returns my smile, to a small degree. Suddenly, I'm flooded with the desire that I remember having last night. It overwhelms me. Before he can manage to turn around so that his body faces mine, I've crossed the distance between us, leaned down and locked him into an awkward embrace. I can't tell if I'm squeezing him or my eyelids harder, trying to contain what might be tears of joy or gratitude or something else, or all of the above. Meanwhile, his shoulder digs into my ribs, and my head is wedged against his sinuous neck, right ear folded back. This is objectively the worst hug that I have ever given, but I can't let go. Until, that is, my ribs complain about the shoulder stabbing them. Even then, I stay there, not wanting to give up this moment, not knowing when something like this may come again. Something whispers that this feeling, these yearnings should have gone away, banished by the blessing along with pause and pads and panting. But something else whispers right back. Fear not, beloved one. So I hold on, a little longer. It's when Elder Suarez reaches a hand around to pat my back that I am able to decide to disengage. I release my companion and step back, smiling still, even though I can feel and hear the blood flow to my ears. Well, buen dia, Elder. I laugh, slightly embarrassed. Sorry about that. I just... Well, it is a buen dia. I think that I can make out a hint of amusement in his expression. I drop myself down into my chair, letting my arms hang at my sides. I see through the unshuttered front window a world of browns and grains, deeper and darker, puddles shining on the road surface, a landscape washed by rain. I remember the time. Sorry for sleeping in, by the way. Elder Suarez raises an eyebrow. Elder, it's Sunday. You slept an entire day. January 20th, 2008, Sunday. I gulp. Somehow, though, my guilt doesn't surge up. I take a second to marvel at its sudden shyness. We're missing church, but Hermana Camiletti stopped by yesterday at my request and said that she'd let Presidente Vargas know that we'd be home sick. Presidente will be bringing the sacrament by the pension after church. My guilt readies to pounce on me, but backs away, barred by the moving lack of judgment from the tatu and the otter. You seem to have needed all the rest after your, illness. My mind looks back. Besides the strange bodily sensations, there is a dreamlike, somnolent quality to the memories of my nocturnal escapade, like someone else lived it. I find that I want confirmation. It's silly. There's more than enough evidence in my brain, but I worry that perhaps my joy this morning is the result of some nervous breakdown. So that all actually happened? The snake nods. Oh. Confirmed. There are more things in heaven and earth that were dreamt of in my philosophy. Also, I did a lot of things in the night that I'm ashamed of in the day. Starting with how I treated my companion. I'm sorry that I ran away, that I locked you in, and I didn't know what I was doing. He shrugs. I will be frank that I was, not happy to be trapped. To not know what was going on, what was happening with your condition. But I paused and reminded myself that the rules were made for missionaries, not missionaries for the rules. We're not locomotives. I nod, baffled at his shrugging off. So many violations, but I'm not going to argue. We sit there as I regain my bearings, sorting through and arranging the disordered archive of recent images in my head. He watches me, eyebrows slightly elevated. Right. He got out through the back, climbed the wall and all, then followed the tracks to where I was sitting. There is another large hole in the story. Elder? Hmm? How in the world did you find me? I was way out in the middle of the campo, kilometers away from town. I could have been anywhere. Elder Suarez leans forward, pulling his scripture bag across the desk towards him. Well, after you'd gone and I cooled down, and once I figured out how I could exit the pench, I knew that I would need some help to find you. So I prayed, and got a prompting to look to the scriptures, that the Book of Mormon was written for our day, for us. I'm curious where this is going. And so I prayed for guidance about where you would be. As I looked over, I see in front of him what he was reading, an edition of the Leojona opened to an all-too-familiar article. I can feel my heartbeat. He slides his triple combination out of his bag and flips through the pages to the very near the front cover, the beginning of the Book of Mormon. It falls open and he pulls out the photo of himself and his girlfriend, laying it on the desk. I look more closely. His magazine is in Spanish. It's not mine. I don't know how he got a Spanish language copy. Maybe he borrowed it? Skimming over the verses in his open Book of Mormon, Elder Suarez locates a particular verse and, planting a finger on it, pushes the book over to me. I remember sitting beside the railroad tracks. I remember telling him. That's right. He knows. The sea of my anxiety barely ripples. After all, he's still here with me. Liquid begins to weep under my eyelids, and I raise a hand to wipe it away. My gaze meets his dark eyes. He's earnest, as always, but there is a deliberate gravity to his manners right now. He nods his head towards the page that he's placed in front of me. Right. I break eye contact and follow his gesture to the passage his claw indicates. This is where my eyes landed when I opened the book, and when I read it, I knew exactly where I needed to go. I read the verse. And as I also beheld a straight and narrow path, which came along the rod of iron, even to the tree by which I stood, and it also led by the head of the fountain onto a large and spacious field, as if it had been a world. My jaw drops. It's a feeling akin to dread, but without menace. The feeling that I got looking at Zion Canyon from a trail on the edge, 2,000 feet up. I don't know what to say. That sounds like exactly where I was. What's more, I pieced together he arrived so shortly after I did. Which means that he must have set out from Campo Largo while I was still aimlessly walking through the random fields, probably before walking by faith indeed. I bring up my fist up to my mouth in wordless awe. Wow. I look up trying to dispel the night vertigo that seizes me. If I read his face correctly, he fully knows the implications of what he's presented to me. When he left to find me, he was heading to a location that I hadn't yet reached. We sit there in silence, letting it sink in. He pulls back his book. That was not the only thing, though. There's more? Do I need to brace myself? After you were gone, I noticed something. And when I got close enough to you, there along the rails, I noticed it again. I raise an eyebrow. His forked tongue flicks back in. In your illness, you developed, a very strong and distinctive scent. Involuntarily, I sniff the air. Oh no, he's right. There's that odor that I smelled on myself, my sheets at night this past week. It's awful. I don't know how I overlooked it this morning. And I realize that I haven't showered or changed my clothes in days either. I look down and see my white shirt splotchily discolored, my dark pants smudged with dirt. And Elder Suarez just sat there while I latched myself onto him and wouldn't let go. My ears rotate back in embarrassment. Oh dear heavens. I stand up from my chair and step back, pointing towards the bathroom with a thumb. A thumb, I think, and rejoice again. You know what? I'll just, go shower. Take all the time you need. I'll be here when you're through. I nod, affirmatively. Yeah, thanks. I might need extra time. He raises an index finger. But not too much time. We miss weekly planning on Thursday, and I'm looking forward to our companionship inventory. I snort. And before I turn away, I catch a glimpse of kind eyes and a not-so-imperceptible smile. Later. I rest my thick thumbnails against my lips as I contemplate my laptop screen. All around me are the shelves at the library's newspaper room filled with periodicals from around the world. Around the corner, I can hear the white noise of chairs shuffling and keyboards tapping. I managed to claim this study spot in a back corner of the last alcove only by getting here earlier this morning. I've been camping out here ever since plugging away at my essay about Paranero electoral systems. But for the past 2 hours, I haven't written a single word about the Ley de Lemas. I'd gone to Facebook during a break from writing, and there, in the suggested friends feature, I saw a beaked face that I hadn't seen in years, seen outside of my memories, that is. Every once in a while, I returned to that night, to that literally eventful night. I no longer felt guilt about running away, leaving Elder Suarez locked in, or missing those days of proselytizing, those transgressions that he'd all forgiven, and Presidente never knew. Neither of us told him. But I'd never spoken with Drubek after I, out of my mind and out of my body, ran away from his quinta. There was one time, weeks later, that we nearly ran into each other in the same aisle at the grocery store. It's hard to avoid people in a small town. We both went wide-eyed. I grabbed what I needed and practically skidded into the next aisle over. Since then, I've pondered over and over how, despite my inexcusable violence against him, he tried as best as he could to help me. What's more, he confided in me. Darn it, I was the first person in whom he'd confided, and I'd repaid him with a vision of horror little could match. While I was still down in Parana, I'd sometimes wondered about sending him a letter. After all, I knew his address. I decided against it though, still too close to the event, uncertain about what I wanted to say and how he'd take it. Uncertain whom I wanted to tell to. Elder Suarez was the only one that I told my mission. There was never another moment that felt opportune, or that specific show of vulnerability felt warranted. Would I tell a practical stranger? And now I'm sitting here, almost 3 years later, safely thousands of miles away, looking at his smiling profile picture. I opened my word processor 2 hours ago, plucked out a couple paragraphs. Drafted, deleted, redrafted. I say that I'm glad to see him again, that I hope that he's doing well. I note that his profile says that he's in La Plata. Did he move? I apologize for my actions, for my delay, for my fear. And I say that there's something that I would like to confide, so he knows that he's not alone. And then I say it. I say it. I copy the text over into the new chat tab. I read that particular sentence over and over. My heart is thumping. My right index finger hovers over the edge of the keyboard, wavering between two keys. One keystroke is all that's needed. One keystroke and a decision. Fiend. So, I think that the appropriate thing was to tell Drubik after all these years that, more or less what happened and why it happened. And that, I guess in his own way that he is not alone. In that he is also, I guess, in this sort of thing, this, you know, I'm pretty sure that he probably moved out. I'm talking about Drubek from Campo Largo after the whole situation, probably because he was like, well, these things happened to this guy that I once knew, Elder Heartly, and look what happened to him. I mean, he's back to being normal, but like, look what happened to him. So it was clear that Drubek had some unresolved issues, like particularly with a person that he loved and that he left. So maybe he moved back to La Plata to try to see if he could reconnect, or maybe to remake his life now outside of Campo Largo, now that his father is not there, now that he has no real tie to the town aside from, you know, the properties. I mean, he could sell them, probably make some money off of them, and then find somewhere he could live in La Plata. But yeah. Now, about Alder Hartley himself, considering that, of course, he has himself come out, but only to Elder Suarez, but to himself too, though. How how exactly would he fit within the Mormon church now? Because you are kind of expected to get married eventually and have kids, you know, be fruitful. Um, would he keep hiding that, or would he say like, you know what? I'm sorry, family and church people, but I am gay. Or perhaps bi, I don't know. I mean, he did have a girlfriend at once, but like he does like men. That doesn't necessarily mean he's gay. It just means that he likes both now. But again, how does that fit within the whole Mormon church thing? Because even the article that he had presented that Elder Suarez was reading has him or has the topic being like, hey, as long as they don't, you know, do something, they're fine. As long as they don't act on those urges, they're fine. So is that how Elder Suarez is, not Elder Suarez, Elder Hartley is going to be from now on? So yeah. It is nice though that Eldrasor seems to be understanding at the very least that he is like he didn't turn him away, that he didn't like go like, oh, like please don't hug me now, please. I feel a little uncomfortable. Like no, he still sees him as his friend, as his companion, as somebody worthy of his I don't want to say love, no, of his friendship, I guess. Is the only word that comes to mind right now, which is good. Also, the fact that he went out of his way to find the Spanish version of the magazine to read the article shows that he is thinking about Elder Heartly. He's not just sort of going like, oh, okay, so Elder Heartly is possibly a homosexual. Okay. No, he's like, okay, so my friend has revealed this about himself now, so I want to study on this topic to best aid him, you know? So it was nice, I guess. I mean, not I guess, it was nice. And like, yeah, I think the whole lobisonification was basically the truth of Elder Hartley, the truth that he had been holding back, like saying like, you know what, I don't want to be behind this door anymore. I am ready to come out and I'm going to take you with me whether you like it or not. And I think that was sort of symbolizing the whole like walking through the door, which is now not a door. It's basically just a frame with a little curtain there that's loosely flapping in the wind. So you could literally just walk through it. You don't even have to open the door anymore because you already did. And I think that was a whole symbolizing thing. The horse is because of that's when he realized it, and the werewolf was on the other side of the door, like saying like, okay, let's step through together. I'm right over here with you, waiting for you. So it was nice. I liked it. I like the story. Am I looking forward to reading the other routes? I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, so I like the story. I do not know if I will continue the other routes, but I do look forward to the other routes that I might be able to read them myself to myself. I don't know. We'll see when it updates again. When the other route for Elder Suarez pops up, unless they decide to go with the other elder that Elder Hartley can be paired with, which I believe is a hare. I do not know their name. I know that their name is mentioned at the very beginning of the story, but I don't remember it, so yeah. But yeah. What else? But yeah, like I said, this was a very nice story. It balances the whole religion and everything else kind of nice, I think. Like, I know for some people, the topic of religion is very touchy. It's not something that they want to deal with, much less, hear about. But I feel that this story does a good job of sort of saying like, of having it here, but not like saying like, hey, only through religion you can get over this, or only through religion you can, surpass these things. It's just something that is pertinent to the main character. It's not telling you to convert to Mormonism or something like that. But yeah. At least that's what I am getting from it. I don't know from a ex-Mormon's perspective or something like that if this whole story would read differently. So yeah. Maybe I could ask somebody. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, so what are your thoughts? Write it down in the comments, and thank you all for watching/listening. If you would like to play Campo Largo yourself or stay up to date with what's going on with it, you can do so by going down into the link in the description, which should have a direct link for the itch.io page where you can download and play the game yourself. If you would like to support the project, they do have a Patreon and a Ko-fi, so you could donate to them, and presumably if you're on their Patreon, you get earlier access to builds of Campo Largo, so you'll see the newest route when it comes up, or like the new character that gets added, I think. I don't know. Because I'm assuming that the person, well, yeah, the person that you're going to talk to instead of, is going to be different from Hermano Drubek. So you won't be talking to the magpie this time, you'll be talking to somebody else. And like I said previously in the other video, I'm curious to see how that's going to affect how the story unfolds. If it's going to be talking about something else, something about Elder Suarez or Elder Heartly or somebody else. So yeah. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to happen, especially also because there's going to be another elder and another set of routes. So I don't know how they'll behave because, I mean, you could already tell that Elder Suarez was already like a good person. Even though you couldn't really see it in their face, you could tell that they were a good person. But if you look at some of at the other elder, you can see that he's kind of like he's not too jazzed to be around Elder Heartly. So I don't know if that's just in the moment or if it's indicative of his portion of the story. Not his portion of the story, his or how his story is going to unfold with Elder Heartly. So yeah. Anywho, so yeah. Subscribe if you would like to support the project. Also, become a channel member if you would like to support me and support the channel. It's a really nice way to say like, hey, I like your videos. Here's money on a monthly basis. And I go, hey, thank you. Here are some of the videos that I have scheduled. You can watch them ahead of time before everyone else. And there's probably some other stuff there too, I think. I don't know. I've been meaning to add more things, but I don't know what to add. Maybe do some private stream thing, but I don't want to do reading because the pressure of reading would be too much. It would just be mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. And that would not look nice. I don't know. I have to figure something out. Yeah, anyways. If you would like to support through Ko-fi, you can do that too. Any support is appreciated, like, subscribe the video, whatever. Also, I have a throne in case you're feeling overly generous. But yeah. Anyways, so I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.